Thank you. Welcome, Madridistas. How are you all doing? Mourinho just spoke, and once again he was very accurate regarding what is happening to Vinicius, what they are doing to him in the stadiums.
Making a distinction between what they do to him on the pitch and his relationship with the crowd. It couldn't be explained any better. It's 5 minutes long. Let's react to it and also talk about other things he said and current news about Real Madrid.
Earlier for La Sexta, you said after the match against Espanyol that you thought the refereeing was fair, but then you spoke out about what Vinicius was going through. Considering the refereeing that you and Barcelona receive, Vinicius and Lamine, do you think Vinicius is treated differently? And do you trust Spanish refereeing in this second stint?
Look, I'll tell you the truth. It's not like last year I watched every Real Madrid game and every Barcelona game. No, honestly, I can't tell you much because I haven't followed week by week, game by game. What I can say, because I feel it, even in friendly matches, even in matches outside of Spain, like we've played some preseason games, it's obvious. The difference is obvious. I'm not talking about Lamine, I'm talking about the general difference between Vinicius and other players. We've fallen into a pattern, into a spiral that opponents can sense. And when an opponent feels that he can, he does it. And that seems to me to be something very, very obvious. It's a bit like little kids. Mine aren't little anymore. They're already 29, 26. But little kids go as far as you let them go. Soccer players on the field are the same. If I can rough up Vinicius, if I can pressure him, whether physically or with words, if I only get a yellow card after committing 10 fouls, if I can go as far as almost assaulting him, obviously it's a treatment that I don't like. And as I was saying the other day, people who want to interpret my words as just opportunistic remarks will go back to what I said when I was the coach of Benfica. It's very simple. When I was the coach of Benfica, I was only interested in Benfica. I wasn't interested in Real Madrid. But in this case, I understand that I'm trying to help Vini have more emotional control. But at the same time, the match starts, and 3 minutes later, he gets kicked, which is an assault. I don't care if it's a kick that breaks his L4, L5, or his cervical vertebrae, but it's still an assault. It's a kick, it's a red card. When you ask me about the referee from the last match, I think that from a technical point of view, and after watching the match several times like we do, it seems to me that from a technical point of view, he did very well. There was a minor incident I was unsure about on the field. But then I fully accept that it was a hypothetical second yellow card for the Espanyol player at the start of the second half for stepping on Carreras's foot. But I understand that it wasn't the second yellow card. And after that, I really liked the refereeing. I really liked the red card for the assault on Vinicius. I also understand that the referee didn't see it. I also understand that the fourth official is right there in front, but I don't understand why the fourth official didn't want to make a decision which would have been a fundamental decision in the match. As for VAR, I can already say that it didn't do its job very well. But I really like the referee. Yes, I trust Spanish refereeing. I always say the same thing before every match. I always trust the referee. If in the league I play, in this case, the Spanish league, if in the Champions League with a referee from another country, I always trust them before the match. After the match, sometimes there are things that I don't like. That I don't like, if you're asking the question, to get a little closer to what happened in the past. And if I now have doubts, at that level, I don't have any doubts. I don't think there's a referee in Spain today who goes onto the field thinking he's a friend of Negreira or that Negreira asked him for a favor years ago. In this case, I'm completely on the side of integrity. De los árbitros. Spaniards, in some matches, there have already been decisions that have influenced the results. In Atletico de Madrid's first home game, the decisions affected the result. The same happened in Sevilla's match with Rayo.
But it happens. It can happen.
Well, for now, Of course, he says something that, coming from outside and not watching all of Real Madrid's games these past seasons, he says, hey, it's just that I don't, it's what we say many times.
They still shouldn't owe Negreira anything today.
The referees who, although some of them, well, many, trained with his son and were the ones who got promoted because Negreira called them.
That same Sanchez Martinez from the other day, the one who refereed our match the other day. But of course, this man in theory has nothing to do with that man, with Negreira anymore. But of course, he was part of the system. He benefited from the system that was set up before. And it seems like many years have passed, but not that many. And he's still there today. And it's inertia. It's inertia. Because if not, then someone needs to explain to me. Now we'll continue with the topic of Vinicius. He hasn't said that about Vinicius in the crowd and Vinicius and the referee. I don't know if I have the clip here. If not, I'll tell you what he said. Let's see if you can hear it. Mourinho didn't want to compare him with Lamine. But, well, he'll do it if it's necessary. Because comparisons are really something else. There is an article, which I won't have time to read in this video, but maybe in the next one we'll pay a little more attention to it, which is by Thomas Guas in La Galerna with real data. Attention, because here I have the headline. In red cards, Vinicius' markers get one every 68 serious fouls, and Lamine's get one every 11. In Europe, Lamine and Vinicius are tied in that regard. Every 3 fouls, the opponents of both see a yellow card. Every three for both of them. So it's the same as always. In Europe, everything is even. Damn, if a guy who's a dribbler, a tricky player, an attacker like Vinicius or Lamine, the opponents are going to hit them because they're going to go after both of them.
That's normal. In Europe, they get yellow cards or red cards in a reasonable way, both of them. In Spain, the difference is Vinicius' markers get every 68 serious fouls and Lamine's every 11. Of course, it's unbelievable. The first time they touch Lamine,
playing with FC Barcelona, there's already a yellow card. You're already setting the bar where you need to as the referee. And yet with Vinicius, it's a free-for-all. Nothing happens. They just keep hitting him. I'd love to know. Well, actually, we already know. The little kick the other day from Calacalaiste to Vinicius in the 3rd minute. How would it have been punished if it had been done to Lamine? I don't think so. Just look. But I don't rule anything out. It could have easily been a red card, especially with Figueroa Vázquez on VAR. In that case, he would have stepped in and said, look, Mourinho said it. Here, the one who failed is the VAR official, but it's just a yellow. For sure. Because he's also part of the system, but in theory, he doesn't owe anything to Negreira, as Mourinho says, who had a great game on the field. Sanchez Martinez. He would have seen it. Something like that against Lamine is impossible. Not against Lamine or against anyone else. But above all, we use the example of our biggest rival, right? The star player of our biggest rival.
they always see that. I don't know how they do it because with Vinicius, never.
And for now, Mourinho isn't referring to this difference, which is shocking. Well, let's continue because, of course, he keeps talking about this whole issue of the fouls on Vini. Just a moment. I haven't shared my screen yet.
Kicking. Me with the personality that I have. Maybe a red card for me. A minute later, the referee who has to be there and who has to protect all the players and has to protect the game there. I already think that it's very difficult to help Vini with how he deals with hostile away crowds. It's something that we can work on.
Well, this is an addition, something he says before. And about something very important about his relationship with the crowd, because he specifies when there is a racist or homophobic chant in the stands. I mean, you can't say that a football player doesn't react, because now we're talking about something much more serious.
But when there are only insults, well, an insult is an insult in any case. But anyway, we understand Mourinho when he says, okay, if they're going to boo you like they did with Cristiano, etc., well, okay, fine.
That's what Mourinho says, that Vinicius has to work on trying to stay consistent with what he said when he was the coach of Benfica, that what you can do is go celebrate in front of the crowd.
I never agree with that. Why can't he do it? Everyone does it. But anyway, Mourinho wants to calm Vini down a bit. Honestly, I'm absolutely in favor of that. I hope he succeeds. I said it the other day.
That's exactly what needs to change. I mean, that's what needs to be worked on because the other thing isn't going to change, unfortunately. But even so, Mourinho tries to complain that it's not normal for the judge because before this,
There's a part of the press conference that's really good where Mourinho says, no, I don't want to call the referee a referee. I want to call him a judge because in this case, he has to deliver justice.
if I'm going to try to fix this issue with Vinicius and the crowd, as long as none of those insults we've already talked about happen. Right? It's just boos or something like that. Although I still don't understand why he arrives at a stadium for the first time and they're already booing him. But, well, he's the big star of Real Madrid. Okay. What he's complaining about is that the judge doesn't deliver justice, that there's no punishment. The same kicks to the rest of the players as to Vinicius, because Vinicius over there, they keep kicking him and kicking him, little kicks or big kicks, right? So, of course, that's when he complains, move, right? And watch out. If this keeps going like this, well, he's gonna keep complaining. And for now, this Mr. Mourinho, and we've seen images of him during the match the other day. Hey, today he looks older than before, but the guy still has energy and pays attention to every detail. And in the press conference, he says, "What I don't like is laziness on the way here to work." I really liked it. This second press conference from Mo was also very good. But he's the kind of guy that if things start to get tough, as we've already seen with the referees, for now, he starts off conciliatory, believing or wanting to believe in the referees. But if things get complicated, he'll come down hard, and that's for sure. Well, speaking of Vinicius and his relationship, and with this, we'll finish his relationship with the fans and also his relationship with his teammates. Something happened here. There's something here that I don't like. It's this thing with Vinicius that came out on El Día Después. Look, it was on El Día Después, precisely in this play where Vinicius says this to Arda, in that great move by the Turk, where Mbappe doesn't get there. You remember, right? Now we'll show which play it is. Look at what Vinicius says, but I'm going to make it smaller so we don't have the usual problems.
Arda!
He calls him 3 times and tells him,
Give me one, damn it!
"Give me some, damn it, fuck always." That photo is the Portuguese equivalent of fuck.
Always the same.
Always the same, Vinicius says to Arda Güler, always the same. He never gives it to me. Let's see which play we're talking about. I don't like these reactions, but, well, you can understand that the players are there. The play in question is this one. The amazing thing is what Güler does in front of an Espanyol defender. And look, this is the pass that Mbappe gives him. Bellingham also complained. He also has the option of Bellingham at the edge of the box, which might be the clearest one, the most visually obvious one for Arda Güler. And then he has Vinicius, who's being marked by both center backs. And you say, what is Vinicius complaining about? Sorry, the pass to Vinicius wasn't clear. The pass to Bellingham was. But what does Güler do? Güler sees the guy who's coming into the box like a knife through butter, and that's Mbappe. And he knows he's the fastest in that kind of situation. So he passes the ball to him. No drama. Damn it. Really. No drama. Hey, well, man. But anyway, I get that these are situations that happen in the game, but it's always the same. I mean, maybe Arda Güler isn't looking for you, Vini, but Vinicius. Anyway, the last thing. Today, Ochoa Tchouameni didn't train. It's strange because he had been training with the group. Mourinho said that he already arrived with some problems. It seemed that was the case. But now suddenly they've come up. Apparently there was a little scare, like the discomfort he was carrying didn't go away or something. So they decided to stop today. And Mourinho said, no, let this guy start when he can start properly. At 100% in perfect condition, right? And not in a way that we might regret later if he gets injured. Well, like I was saying, Chua Tchouameni Silva, Bernardo Silva, which is what I like the most for the double pivot, is going to have to wait. Anyway, tomorrow, Real Sociedad, which is not a bad team, Copa champion. Watch out for this Joker. He's a hell of a coach. Be careful. Well, see you next time. Thanks for being here. Give a like if you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to the channel, comment, share, and have a great day. Bye.